Next topic, international booking. And we tend to talk about, in booking, buyers and sellers. Seller, buyer, both. But yeah, let's go through who you can see here on stage. Alexander Arket is Stolen, Oslo World Festival, probably one of the most prestigious one in our field. In Europe, Fabio Scopino, Italian World Beat, which is also now it's also an international showcase. Yeah. Not used to be Italian only, but now it's international. But it also operates a kind of world music export agency for Italy. And Charlie Mougin from ZN agency, booking agency and label. Probably one of your most recent signings are Bohemian Betyars.
Maybe.
Yeah, Szavasz Kakas. So finally, yeah, you've got a Hungarian name on your roster.
Yeah. Yeah. The first one.
Yeah, I know. But that's why we are here, to have more, not just for you, but also for others. Selling and buying.
I will present the French market because I work in France. But in the
you work in France. It means that you basically represent artists in France.
Yes, in the all French territory, not only in France, because Switzerland is near, the Belgium too, and it's the same market with the same promoter who speaks in French. Because our territory, our English, it's really approximative. I'm sorry for that, but we love world music. So in our country, we can have exclusivity for all international bands, and sometimes it's like that. You have a partner with different kind of territory, and in France, we need to have a big band with a good story. When you want to have a big festival, you need to have a big promo pack with live video, good sound, actuality, beautiful pictures. If you want to have a good connection and travel a lot in France, you need to forget words. You need to travel a lot, make some words, some little place to start, and continue in big festival later. You need to you can be very known in your country, but nobody know you in France. Don't forget it, because when you start in your new territory, you need to start at zero, and it's really important to know that, because with the French language, in the campaign, in the little campaign, in the little city, people just listen the radio, see the TV, and they can't know your band if you're from Hungarian, if you're from Bosnia, etc. You need to start at zero. And you need to make a big show when you start in the little club with 100 people if you want to have a big, bigger stage the next time. And it's really important to work for that. And what can I say?
What makes you choose an artist?
It depends.
Are you looking at numbers, or it's more like, you need to like it personally?
For me, personally, it's more important, because numbers on the road, it's easier when you are free. But I prefer the big band. I don't know more why, but I prefer the big challenge. And for me, it's I prefer have a big band.
You mean the number
it's more festive?
The number of people on stage?
Yeah, the number of people on stage. I prefer with when we have a lot of instruments on stage, when it's festive music, because I work in festive and world music. But if you are only 3 on the road, it's easier if you want to organize a tour, for sure.
Alexander, we know, or I know two kinds of organizers, promoters. One who likes to work with bookers, agents, and they always choose artists from those agents. The other one looks at the artist and then checks, okay, which agency is working with them. So what's your way of working?
I think it's the second option. I can tell you, like in 1 minute, Oslo World is a festival that started in 1994, and it's 31 years this year, and I've been directing it for 19 years, so it's too long. And we have 27 stages in the festival, 27 venues. It's in November in Norway, so it's cold, so it's indoor. And it's a curated festival. It's not a showcase festival, so we don't really do any showcase acts. We usually do 1 or 2 bands in a night in one of in each venue. So when you have the curated festival, it's a bit difficult to choose the program because you have to think of ticket sales, you have to think of, well, as you say, the presentation of the bands, all of that in a quite different way than the showcase. Like Eurosonic, you can add a lot of bands, and it's a quite different way of booking. But I think that what is most important for me is to have, first of all, a good team, that you are not like a dictator on the top deciding everything and booking everything yourself, that you have like people around you that are different from yourself and have a different musical taste, so you can discover all kinds of music, because we work without any limitation of genres, any limitation of language. We can do, I don't know, the Kronos Quartet in a church, and then we can do like hip-hop bands or electronic DJ sets, or, so we have this kind of variation of also of genres. So I think that's one important thing for us. And then, of course, you have to travel quite a lot to see things live. It's very different to see it live than the perfect videos that are online. So it's important to see things live, not everything, but it's as much as you can. And then we listen to our audience. We have a lot of volunteers at Oslo World. We have 250 volunteers, and then a lot of audience. So every year we ask the audience, what do you want to see next year? And we actually listen to them. So we try to figure out like how many people want, I don't know, Dubiosa Collective, for example, and how many, and we make the poll and we see what can we do. So that's one way. And for us, the most boring booking are the one we know are going to sell out. Like, for example, now we are for the 3rd time doing Altingun. It's a great band, but it's not, oh, yes, for us. So for us, it's much better to do bands that sell out, that we didn't expect them to sell out. You know what I mean? Like emerging bands or somebody you feel that you took them just in the right moment. But you never know if when you book them was the right moment. So that's the risk you have to take when you have a festival. So sometimes you fail big time. Sometimes you think something is selling out and it's not selling out. Yeah, blah, 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 it's obvious. But we work with a lot of different people, basically, talking to a lot of different people. And we work with different agents, and we work directly with musicians, and like a lot of different...
And you are one of the few festivals that you've got a kind of a theme, a topic every year. And how much that influences, your choices of artists? What's the theme this year?
This year we don't have a theme. I'm really tired of the theme, actually. But I mean, we have worked very much in the between activism, social engagement, politics, and music. Oslo World has always done this. So we've had like solidarity or borders or rebels or this kind of very broad topics that we fill them with content. And we have then talks and films and exhibitions and of course mainly music. So last year was the 30th edition. We had music and activism as the topic. and everybody can fit in that topic. So this year we are sometimes the topic arrives before we start to book the program, and sometimes the topic comes when we already have like an idea of what we are going to. So it depends a little bit of the process. This year we are still waiting for the topic. Yeah. Yes, please give it to me. Yeah. So if you have any suggestions, let me know.
An idea.
Yes. Yeah.
Fabio, you this agency kind of thing you've just started, like, and you're special. You're basically exporting Italian artists. So you're internationally selling Italian artists, right?
Yeah. So really, we start not like an agency, but we start like a network. So the first step we did was to create a network, Italian network industry to spread, to promote abroad. Because in Italy, there is only one foundation who supports the artists. In a regional foundation is a Puglia Sound. The rest of the region was totally without any kind of support or any kind of anything else. So we decided to do that for all the rest of the region in abroad. So the first step was to create a kind of industry network to spread around. And then we develop all the process to promote artists, to promote associations, promote labels, to create. We designed the way, and then we discovered every step by step. So, but I have a question for you. I would love to know our audience. How many artists are, or there are manager or bookers or something else? Are artists here? Yeah, more. Is independent artists, or do you have also manager or bookers? Independents. Okay. How many independent artists here? Yeah. So, and how many bookers or agents? Only one. Okay, so we need to improve booking and agency in here in Hungary. We have the same problem in Italy, but that's why I would
Actually,
know.
It's a very big problem all over the region. That the number of people working with the musicians is much lower than the number of musicians would require.
Yeah.
And that's also a limitation to how much the musicians can grow internationally.
Yeah, that's why. I think the first step, very important step, is to fill the gap from the artist to the industry. Because the artist, I think, has to be an artist, and the manager has to be manager. Because there is no time to do both. Or you'll miss something about art, or you miss something about.
There are some good examples like Daga, but
yeah. But this is
not the usual
experience. Yeah, absolutely. So, and in Italian we have the same problem. There is a lot of interesting projects, but there isn't many agency or booking agency. That's why we try to start to create a kind of association to help the artists to promote outside, abroad, to spread their project. And we are working hard to do that.
So booking, agents, managers, this is basically about the road between the artist and the audience, right? So you are like a ferry from one side of the river to the other side of the river.
Yeah, we like when public I have already an audience, but when you are booker, we need to continue the development of the band. So you need find the good festivals, a good opportunity for the artists to continue on this way and to have more visibility, because it's our job to continue to have bigger stage, and the problem of the barrier, it's always, what is the audience, how many tickets they sell, it's always a problem. So we need to make a good strategy with the artists, with the environment, the partner, all the partners, the manager, the label records, everybody need to work together to create something nice and good environment for the artists to have the best development for them. And we need to work together. It's really important to keep that in mind, because if you are independent and you work alone, you can't have a bigger step.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. I totally agree. It needed to create the connection. I think the connection is the word. To create network and connection. This is the way to follow, because otherwise the way is too long to run, and at the end you will finish your energy and you will stop. But if you do step by step with other people and you share all the activity with them, you help him, he help you, and create a kind of a circular economy or circular professionality. Everything is shared, so you can go forward more longer than if you are alone, I think.
Also, I hear it many times from artists that I can't afford to have a manager or an agent. And I'll have a manager when I can afford it to have. But my answer is usually that if you don't have a manager, you won't ever be able to afford to have a manager. So first you need a manager, then you will get there to afford it. But without that, it's very difficult to get there. So tell me, what do you provide for artists for your commissions?
It depends, because it depends of this kind of music you promote. If you are a bigger artist with a big fee, the percent is little, because between 10 or 15%, because the amount of the fee is bigger. If you are a little artist and a development artist, sometimes the fee is 20% everywhere in Europe, because the work is more important. You need more work to confirm one concert, so your fee is bigger. But
and what's the service that you give them for this?
About the service, we go on all exhibition, music exhibition everywhere in the world. We can represent the band everywhere. We speak with all our band everywhere, with all promoters on our website. We have a big newsletter base with, I think, 30,000 contacts. And the exhibition have a price. This exhibition have a price, so you need to be agree with that if you want to be promoted everywhere. If not, if you prefer keep this person for you, you will work more for nothing, because we don't have you don't have the connection with the promoter everywhere, and it's really important to make the good connection with your manager, your booking agent. You need a partner everywhere. In all territory you want to develop, you need a partner there.
And we don't do booking, so we don't sell. We manage our artists in all the aspects, and we promote them with about, for example, to record CD, to create their imaging. So we manage them, and then we create a network seller, a worldwide network seller for them, because it's impossible to sell concert from Italy in Australia, in Korea, in Japan. You need to have someone who works for you there. So our service is totally management of the artist, totally, and also to create a booker international booker network seller. Yeah, this is our main service for the artists. But we don't have many artists because we don't have time to have many artists. At the moment, we manage 3 bands, and is enough at the moment, but we wish to grab, because also we organize festival, showcase festival, and also we travel all around the world to be part in this kind of occasion. So we don't have many time to focus for the artists. We start with this artist only to try our system, no? To create a system to help the artist, or to help the other manager to create their own system. It's a kind of an experiment, and it's working, because our artists are traveling all around the world and are doing several concerts all around the world. So the process is going well.
When was the last time, Alexandra, you had an Hungarian artist?
I was thinking about it earlier today. It's a long time ago.
Yeah,
And that's why I'm here.
10 years.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
No, that's why I'm here. No, I was thinking about that, because I think what is the typical thing that we do when we are quite busy, and also I can add that I have three children and a dog and a husband musician. So my life is complicated, I can tell you. So then you tend to go to some fairs where you can meet a lot of people at the same time. Like, for example, these kind of events that are smaller, you don't maybe prioritize it, because you go to places where you have a lot of people you can meet at the same time. When you go to these places, you actually don't meet anybody that you don't already know, because you have already meet your colleagues, you know, so and you have so many meetings, and you know. So I think for us it's very important to go to new territories. So for me, I mean, for example, coming here or going to Napoli, or well, I love Napoli for other reasons, but to go to new territories is also to open up and see what's going on, because I mean, we are all different markets too. Yeah. So but it's a long time, and I must say that it's very hard to be a musician. I mean, it's very hard to play at Oslo World, I can tell you, because we have maybe 60 concerts in the festival every year, and 60 concerts, and we choose from all over the world. So I mean, it's very difficult. But we choose bands, and we program a lot of bands, and we do a lot of things. So it's not impossible, but it's not easy. But I don't think it's like one way to do it. What is very important is to, first of all, like to play. Somebody said it earlier. Like to play. You have to play. Like, don't be picky on the jobs. I think that's the most important thing, and that's how you will reach any goal. I mean, if you want to be a football player and you just think that you're at 8 years old and you want to play at Real Madrid and you're from Norway, you have a problem. You know, it's going to be so hard for you to one day be there. But maybe if you just play, you go to these bad clubs in Norway, you play really bad, you never win the World Cup with your country, all of that. Maybe one day, you never know. I think that's a little bit the same with being a musician. You have to play concerts, a lot of concerts. And then at some point in your career, like we have discussed it with some of the Norwegian very established musicians, you have to say no to a lot of things, to not play so it's the strategic choice will come. But I think, and then you will probably start to say no to a lot of things because you can. But in the beginning, I think it's very important, and to start to think that your territory is your main territory. Because if your dream is to come to Norway or go to Italy or, you know, travel all around the world, it's not easy. So you have to start at home and build your career at home. And then suddenly it's like everything in your life. It's you know, you met suddenly you were there at the right moment. You met that person that suddenly believed in your project and took you to I don't know where, and then you got this chance to make the music for a score for the film, and the film won the Oscar and whatever, and it happened, and it was you know, something happened that was by chance, you know. But rarely things happen without hard work for anyone. So I think that's what we see when we program too, that a lot of the bands that play at our festival are bands that all of them have released something, like minimum one album, or are going to release the album that year. You know, like it's the minimum. You need to have an album or something. But I mean, you don't have to have the perfect picture or the perfect video necessarily, because the festival that you're going to play at can build the story for you if they are like Oslo World. Yeah, so I don't know. There isn't one rule, but I think the main thing is, for me, I think it's like to really work hard in your own territory, and then start to see, what can I do? Who do I want to work with? Which agent? Which booker? Because now we see that there is a challenge with the bookers too. I'm sorry. You have so many bands. So maybe you are so lucky to get a booker, you know, and then it's like, oh no, this band, they just got one job last year, so I'm not going to make the priority for them. I'm going to go to do that band. You know what I mean? So it's also not easy to be in the big agencies, for example. And one challenge that we face now is that you have the manager, then you have the European agent or booker, and then you start to work with the local bookers in Norway. So it becomes also an expensive added cost. So what's left for the musician? When the local booker, the agent, the whatever other booker, and the manager, and then so what's left for the guy who made the song, you know? This is what I'm a bit worried about now. And so we try to book directly with the booker, like the second person, like this would be the third person. Musician, manager, booker. So the first booker, not the third booker. You know what I mean? Yeah. So this is a challenge. So I'm not so sure about, I think like Fabio says, and I agree that if you want to travel to Korea or Japan, and it's good to have, of course, a network and maybe a booking agency or something, but sometimes I think also that can be very frustrating. It's really frustrating to have a bad manager. It's very, very frustrating. And you know yourself as a musician that you can do it better yourself. It's very frustrating. So that frustration, sometimes it's better to skip it and do a lot of things yourself if you don't find a good manager. That's my idea.
Totally.
Does it make sense to send you directly, recommendations, applications by the artists themselves, or you won't even have time to look at it?
I'm really bad answering emails.
I know.
So I'm sorry. I'm so bad. Really bad. So we have this system that works really bad, I can tell you. We have a website, a really good website, where you can send application. And it's a very bad system. I have to be honest. I see that this is recorded on YouTube. It's really bad. No, the good thing about it is that we wanted to create it because we get a lot of mails, like so many mails that we can't really, it's impossible to answer all of it, of course. So we created this system that you apply to play at Oslo World, and then we go through the applications. And it's worth it, you know. I mean, it's worth to do it because we go through it and suddenly you can see something that's because we are curious people. We want to make a good festival, and now we see that many festivals in Europe and in Norway are very homogenic. They are the same. The same bands play everywhere, every year. It's crazy. So then you want to do something that you want to discover, like the next Rosalia, or I don't know. So you want to sort of find something, and then sometimes you don't find it through the German booker or you find it because the musicians send it themselves. But it's a little bit like winning the lottery because it's a lot of amount of mails. So I would suggest, but never give up. It's like when you get I send you the mail. Did you see it? Just push it. I mean, we are there, but sometimes we don't answer just because it's a huge amount of mails. So we have the system of, it was not very good for you to hear. I'm sorry. But you can, we have this application, but since it's not a showcase, you don't have like a deadline, you're not applying for anything concretely. You're not going to be selected like a showcase festival. But you are applying, you're showing what you do. So I think it's worth it. And then, of course, I think it's always good, like someone like Balázs or someone that you know has a festival here that is part of a network. It's good to talk to Balázs or talk to people with a network. Say, hey, what do you think? Who should I, do you know some festivals? Where do you think my music could fit? You know, have you been, you know? This is good. This is a way of creating your network here. And then Balázs would send me an email and say, hey, I have this band, check them out. And maybe it's easier for me because I know you. I mean, I'm sorry, but this is a little bit how it works. To find people in your own network that can, or through you, or maybe you're the first Hungarian band who was signed to you, maybe you can tell how your experience was to your colleagues, and you know, this is how it spreads. Talking together, yeah.
Yeah, it's totally fine. You wanted to say something?
No. I totally agree with her. I know very well.
Let's talk a bit about this, territorial deals, global deals, whatever, because there is a lot of territorial bookers in Europe, exclusivity, non-exclusivity. I think this is a bit like something scares everyone in the room. So usually French agents, I mean, France is special in all Europe. They all...
we prefer keep exclusivity in our territory for sure, for all the French country, because if we introduce a band in a new territory, it's important for us to keep all the future context and all the future concert for them. We work with band for 1 year. It's minimum. We can continue later, but the minimum in 1 year. If the work is good, we can continue together. If you want to live in other company, you can too. It's normal. Bigger company or continue alone with your manager. Usually, you can have exclusivity in all French territory too, Belgium, Switzerland country. And if you want have exclusivity in each territory, for me is the best option. If you have one partner in each territory, in each country, it's the best option for you, because you will create a good circle, a good environment, like we said before. We have one representative by the country, and for you is the best opportunity to continue to work in a good way to organize a tour, because organize a tour, it's cool too. If you make only one shot, it's not good for the band, you will be tired, it's not cool for the agent because it's a lot of work for only one concert. And you need to work with your environment always. When you confirm a concert in one territory, work the other territory. For example, if you confirm a concert in France, work the Spain, the Italy, the Germany, everywhere you can have an opportunity on the world.
So for exclusivity, I think what happened in Norway after the pandemic was that, during the pandemic, a lot of venues and festivals were, not a lot of festivals, but a lot of venues closed down and were bought by bigger major companies. And this kind of, the way we did the exclusivity rules before the pandemic was, like you say, you have, for a festival, it's not the same for a booker, but for us it was, okay, you have the exclusivity, let's say, for a band to come to play Oslo, and then it's the exclusivity in Norway for one concert, you know. So it was important before. I think this is like, for me, it's a before-after pandemic situation. It should be this in the industry, but it's really not. But I think it should be, because we saw how much musicians suffered during pandemic. I think the exclusivity is the people who loses are the musicians. You know, if you are going to Norway and you can only do one concert, but why? You know, both for the environmental reasons, for your own wallet reasons, for the booker reasons, you know. So what we started to think is, how can we make something happen during Oslo World that becomes less exclusive? you know, because it's not really, well, of course it depends. If it's a question of Bruce Springsteen, for example, someone like that, or like the big stadium, Beyoncé, or, you know, they will do one concert in Norway, because we are a small country too, you know. But I mean, for the main bands that we book at Oslo World, we don't need exclusivity, because you wouldn't take a flight 2 hours from the north to see Altingan in Oslo. Very few people would do that. Maybe 50, maybe, but not 1,000. So what we did in 2022 is that we created 5 festivals in Norway the same week. So we have 5 cities. So Oslo, Bergen, Molde, Skien, and Tromsø in the north. 5 festivals. So 3 kids, 1 dog, 1 husband musician, 5 festivals. No, so it's not we don't own them. It's we have really good colleagues. We talked to them. We said, can we create 5 festivals, like festivals in your territories? That's so we share the bands that we book to Oslo World. We choose parts of the program and we send them on tour. Okay, so we have 4 colleagues that, yes, let's make a festival. So they made 4 festivals, so we are now 5. And we sent 14 of our bands last year on tour. So it's really great. And since some of these festivals are quite small, it's also an opportunity mainly for the independent bands, because they wouldn't book the big Brazilian stars or the very expensive bands. So they would do maybe smaller acts, and it wouldn't be so important for them if they are all the streaming numbers, this, because the cities are quite small. So it would be a very good opportunity for quite a lot of emerging bands to tour. And then for you, if you are going to do it, then you can suddenly put on your CV that you did 5 cities in Norway, you know, instead of 1. So it's been really great. And now it's the third year we are doing it. And it's also like a comment to the industry, because we are getting eaten up by very big commercial forces. We can't fight them. We can't win the fight against Live Nation. And we have to collaborate with Live Nation on a lot of things, which is a part of our job. But they can't own the world, you know? So we have to do something to keep the industry more diverse. Yeah.
They already own the world.
I'm in war now. No, I'm not in war, but I... You say word or war?
Word. So, as a manager, I prefer not exclusivity about booking, but for example, for French, I love to have 1 booker, and 1 booker in Spain, 1 booker in Germany, to create the famous networking seller. So, but sometimes some booking agency ask to have a kind of exclusivity in a territory, for example, Switzerland, French, and Belgium. And it depends of the capacity of the agency. So you can decide case by case. But as manager, I prefer to have 1 booking agent or agency each country. It's better for them, and it's better for the artist. This is my opinion.
Yeah, but agencies are usually, you know, French-speaking, German-speaking. So
yeah.
Germany, Austria,
absolutely.
German, Switzerland, Benelux, Nordics sometimes, but there's not much agents in the Nordics actually. Yeah, and then there are the global agents, or at least who claim to be global, or European at least. But Charlie, how many artists are you representing Europe-wide?
30.
For all Europe?
No, from 30 in global, and from Europe, the half, 15.
Mm-hmm. And are you working with sub-agents in certain territories?
Yes, for sure. For the French band, we search different agents in each territory, in Germany, Spain, Italy, to have 1 representative by country, to have 1 people who know the country, who know the promoters, who know the code because it's really important to. It's not the same market. For example, we have the same border with Italy, but it's not the same market, not the same fee, not the same organization, not the same hospitality. So it's really important to have one good representative everywhere to continue the good development for everybody.
Yeah, that's why I thought that is an important local country agent that know all the situation. Yeah.
Questions before we start the listening session? I really don't want to cut off any time of the listening session because I'm a bit concerned the time will be short anyway for that. Matyi.
Can I just say, I think it depends a lot on what kind of musician you are, what music you play, what your goals are like in your life. You know, this is the crucial question you have to ask yourself first. I think personally, if you have to do the reality check, the situation for most musicians in the world is that they are promoting themselves. Let's be honest, like a lot of musicians are musicians promoting themselves, either as jazz musicians, part of jazz bands, or classical musicians, part of symphony orchestras, doing a lot of things on the side. You know, like a lot of musician instrumentalists are promoting themselves. That's the job. And if you have a booker or a manager, it's still your job to promote yourself. So I think that's part of your job. That should be on school. When you go to music school, that should be like class 1. You are your own promoter. Do you want to do that for the rest of your life? Yes or no? Yes, okay, I'm ready to go to school now. You know, should be like a very important part of the learning, because I think this is for every musician, this is crucial. And then the good thing about having a booker is that you don't have to sell yourself. Of course, it's much better if you get a good booker and you get jobs through your booker. I mean, it's worth the percentage of 20% or whatever. I think it's worth it, because it's easier also for a festival to work with people that are bookers, that we always have maybe more, I don't know, it depends, but I think it's easier in a way. It's a distance to the artistic side, so I think for us it's also a bit easier. But I think the reality is that a lot of musicians will have to be their own bookers, and I think that's okay too. And doesn't mean that you are not going to play festivals or not going to travel or not going to do anything. I think a lot of people travel a lot, being their own bookers. But if you have something special that you think have an international potential, it's good to have an agent. I think it's good. And it's good, it's an investment, like you said. It's an investment for the future. But I mean, you never know. Yeah.
It depends about the potential. If you have international potential, you will have problem to find manager. So if you have to grow, if you have to create your career, it's difficult to find a manager, because you are on the way. When you arrive at a good level, it's easy that manager will find you. So.
And if you don't have manager, you are the manager, so you need to find the good people, make a good identification, contact the good people, because I receive a lot of mail, and the people don't see what I do, because, for example, I don't work in electronic music, I don't work in urban music, but a lot of people, a lot of bands just make a mail, write a mail, find a list on internet, all the producer, and make a copy call and send to everybody. It's not a good strategy. You need to choose your partner, really.
I would have a question from Alexandra.
Casual, random.
I can show you my email later if you want. Yeah. It's the mood. If I'm in a good mood or no, I'm joking. No, I don't know. I mean, it's not only me opening. Like for the website, we are the team. So it's like we go through it with the team. And it doesn't have to be a lot of information. You know, it can be very short. I think it should be short. You know, because yeah, I think people make too long presentations. So you have to go to the core of what you want. You have to make it short. And it's always good to have. And now we are, for example, considering a band who has extremely few listeners, like extremely few. And I'm thinking, are they gonna increase during this year? Is it because it's gonna like explode? Like, what's gonna happen with this band? What they have something special. They have really good pictures. They have made a video. It's incredible, the video, but they haven't any views yet. It's very new. So we are thinking, okay, maybe we should take the chance, you know, because it's worth to see what's gonna happen here, you know. But they have a booker, so I got it through an international booker that I know. But still, when I go and look at the views, it's really like I wouldn't book it out of the Spotify listener numbers. You know what I mean? So for the website, it's a bit harder because it's a bit, yeah, it's a lot of mails, a lot of mails, and we feel bad too because there is a lot of good propositions. We love music, basically. That's why we are here. I mean, we wouldn't have this job if not. And a lot of music is so good. So I can't give you a proper answer, but it's not only me taking this decision. We discuss it always at the office. So short, sweet, know what you want. I mean, it helps with good pictures. If you have some material, it doesn't have to be like a expensive video, but something that catches your, I don't know. There's something.
This year I invited someone to Budapest Ritmo with 32 monthly listeners on Spotify.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I don't know if now I felt a little bit bad, but let's say this band, I'm not going to say who it is, but it's a little over 2,000 listeners on Spotify. I mean, I'm not saying it's nothing, but it's not a number that you would say, okay, we are going to sell 500 tickets, or you know, it's like, it's few. Very few compared to, I don't know, 8 million or whatever, you know? So it depends. so it depends. So because we have bands who have, I don't know, 20 million listeners, or the video has been seen, I don't know how many million times, you know? But we also have maybe this, and we have had bands that have 1,000 listeners. I'm not saying this is like, oh, wow, it's so little. Oh, wow. I'm not saying that. I'm just explaining to you that doesn't necessarily mean that if you have 1,300 Spotify listening on Spotify, doesn't mean that you can't play a big festival, you know? But there's something about your project that has to be a potential. And more potential than the numbers. Yeah. Yeah.
Are you using any more elaborate numbers or services?
Yeah.
Like, you know,
territories.
narrowing down to region, Norway, whatever?
Yeah. I mean, we are not we are never using Norway. Well, we are using Norway as a territory, of course, but in general, we are analyzing the listening numbers out of territories where we know our audience follow. Like we have, so it can be maybe Germany or UK. Norwegian audience is very predictable. So everything that is big in the UK or the America we can follow these numbers, or Berlin or some cities in Europe. If there's a lot of the 2,300, if all of them are in Berlin and UK, whatever, then we can think, well, there can be a potential. Then we can have an artist with 5 million monthly listeners in Ankara. It doesn't necessarily, it can be very hard to build an audience also if the listening numbers are really, really high, but in a territory that really normally don't have a big crowd in Norway. So we make these kind of, how do you say, we look into all these numbers. But in the end, to make a festival program is not only about numbers, it's about passion too. So what we are joking about at the office is to say that, what do you want to fight for? I'm asking the colleagues, like if you want to book a band and nobody else in the booking groups thinks it's going to sell any tickets, so what, are you ready? Are you ready to fight for this band? Like you are going to fill the hall? Yes. Okay, let's go. Let's do it. Let's see what's going to happen. And a lot of times when you have one colleague who is going to work the ass off to fill that hall, it's going to work. Because all the friends, then they talk, and they go, and then this, and then that, and then we can sell the tickets. You know what I mean? So it's not only the Spotify or the numbers, it's also about passion and what you believe in and what you like. But I certainly don't book Oslo World out of my own taste, like what I listen to. You don't want to know what I'm listening to. And I can't afford it either. So I mean, I was...
Any other questions? Because if not, we should start the listening session.
I just want to say 2,400 isn't like super low numbers. It's not like that. It's just that you got what I mean. Yeah, okay.
I mean, 32 is so low, it's already sexy somehow. I mean, they probably didn't tell anyone that they've got an album out or something. But true, I look at the numbers, but I don't care. Basically, that's how I can sum it up. I mean, the music needs to be good first. I think that's sure. So let's rearrange the room a bit, because now we will be